Hi, administration. This is Kendo. Can I start if the time comes to 10:30 in Bangkok time? Hi, administration. Can I start if time comes to 10:30 in Bangkok time?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Ken Ando from Untitled Japan. Welcome to the Incubator 13th Kuroshio. Together with Xiaopei Lin, Cesar Villanoi, and our many other colleagues in Asia Pacific region, we have developed the CSK2 project, which will be introduced by Xiaopei Lin next talk in the framework of IOC WESTPAC, and the project was endorsed at the last Intergovernmental session of WESTPAC. In this incubator, we would seek the areas to co-design and co-work with our potential collaborators, partners, and stakeholders to develop our CSK2 project for better. To do so, we have invited leaders in various fields: marine science, data management, meteorological research agencies, fishery research and agencies, education and literacy, and local activities. And this is the agenda. Considering the range of CSK2, there should be much more collaborators, partners, stakeholders to work with. But in our capacity, at this time, we could only invite 9 speakers as potential collaborators. Our time is also limited. Only 8 to 9 minutes are assigned to all speakers to have the discussion time. I'm sorry for this. Please understand that as this is the first time of challenges to contribute to UN decade, even exchanging views from various potential collaborators, partners, stakeholders would be an incubation for all of us. In the last intergovernmental session, international steering group was addressed to be established. The members were already fixed, but the first ISG meeting is not happened yet. So this activity is rather falling forward from the view of members. So I'm really little bit sorry to the members of ISG, and please forgive that I'm doing this. But it is just a problem of timing. So let's get started, as we do not have enough time. So the first speaker is about current status of IOC WESTPAC CSK2 project. So Xiaopei, could you please start your talk?
Okay, thank you, Ken. Good morning, everyone. And I will introduce the cooperative study of crucial and adjacent region of IOC WESTPAC. This is what we call the CSK2. And I also list the initial members of this project. About 50 years before, we have the first CSK project. And under this project, we get the mean state and as well as environment in the Western Pacific Ocean. So it's a very good success for international collaboration. And after 50 years, we are still consider how we know about the crucial and its adjacent region. And in fact, in this region, as shown in this figure, and is an area with a strong variability in the global ocean, such as a hotspot and a huge mass, heat, nutrient, transport, exchange with marginal seas. So that's why we think it's time that we should have the second CSK2, why we call the CSK2. Okay, so start from the 2015, we have a task force and to consider the possibility to for a new CSK project, what we call the CSK2. And after 2-year task force, we become the intersection working group, and from 2017. And until now, the IWG, the intersection working group, we are working for 4 years, and we complete a review report of the CSK and its related research project. This is a basis for the CSK2. And also we developed a science plan of CSK2 and its implementation strategy if feasible. And we submit this report in this year for the 13th session of WESTPAC. And in the science action plan, and we have 2 goals. The first is the understanding of the Kuroshio and its impact on global and regional climate and weather. The second goal is understanding of the Kuroshio in relation to marine ecosystem variations. Especially, we will focus on the regional fishery and agriculture. And the detail of the SAP, and we have some science output and also the social output. And especially, we emphasize the social outputs such as climate and climate monitoring, and also the ocean monitoring and forecasting. And we also emphasize the regional fishery management, local agriculture management, and marine environment conservation. And we are especially emphasize the data management. The principle is, first, we according the fair policy, and second, the data obtained in the project and the process where adequate quality control will be shared. And second, we will use a common data format for sharing and dissemination. And so the data sharing is a key to success. And also we have the draft of the term of reference of the International Steering Committee Group. And here I not want to go to the detail, but just show you here. And for the initial science plan, we have the 11 projects that they are submitted to the CSK2. 2 from Korea, 2 from Indonesia, 1 from Philippines, 3 from China, and 3 from Japan. They are covered nearly the whole Western Pacific Ocean. And now I will just show you the current international activity. First is today's meeting, and we will share our information with some potential stakeholders and also our scientists, and to try to link together. And the second is the first International Steering Committee Group meeting, and we develop the International Steering Group, the ISG, and the principle is 3 members per member state as a maximum. And now we have 15 experts from 8 countries, that from China, Indonesia, Japan, Korea, Philippines, Russia, USA, and Vietnam. And also we determined to have the first meeting on December 8 by remote, and we will select 2 chairpersons. And besides, we want to discuss some issues like data management, task team, and the call for proposal. Besides, already we have the 11 proposal. And we also want to consider the drafting team for the decadal action proposal. And now I will just summarize the current status of the CSK2. And there is a new project called CSK2 in the Western Pacific, was launched in conjunction with the UN Decade of Ocean Science. And also various physical, biological, and chemical aspects on science to society are already in a draft science action plan and with scientific service. And still there are many questions, social links to the society, and we also need to improve the SAP. And the data system is a key, and the team will be developed under the ISG. And the new call for proposals, as well as already exist 11 proposals, is in the draft science action plan. And a study group for Kuroshio was established in voluntary basis in Japan, and ISG will plan to submit this project to the UN DAC for its second call of action. Okay, that's all.
Oh, Xiaoping, thank you very much. Oh, very short. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to save time and for more discussion. And
Okay, okay, I see.
yeah, if someone has question about the background and status, yeah, just ask your question.
Yeah. So if you have question or comment, please raise your hand or write in the chat box, please. So if not, I would like to move to the second speakers. Xiaopei, thank you very much for sharing. So next speaker is Professor Fan Wang from IOCAS. He will introduce about clever endpoints and cross-cutting collaboration with CSK2. Fan Wang, are you here?
Yeah, thank you. I will share my screen. Could you see me?
Yeah.
Could you,
Yeah. Very clear. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Anderson and Xiaopei and other conveners of this incubator to invite me to introduce impulse to you. And that's is some introduction and some suggestion for the cooperation of impulse with CSK2. My talk today includes 3 parts. The first one is about background. As you all know, the Western tropical Pacific is unique in terms of the complex 3-dimensional ocean circulation system and intensive atmospheric advection and multi-scale variability, making it crucial in evolution of ENSO and global climate change. Observations are fundamental to advance our understanding, as well as to validate and improve the model capacity in simulating ocean process, the air-sea interaction and the multi-scale variability. Great advances have been made in examining the Western tropical Pacific Ocean circulation and associated climate impacts by international scientific community since the 1960s through field experiment. For example, the CSK, here we can see CSK1 was launched between 1965 and 1979 under the auspices of the IOC, UNESCO, and the Indo-Pacific Fishery Council of FAO. The Toga-Woes period led to fundamental progress in our understanding of physical processes responsible for ENSO and to the development of coupled ocean atmosphere models for ENSO prediction. In order to continue the study of ocean circulation and climate after Toga-Woes, the CLIVER was launched in 1995 as a core project of WCRP. And the tall Triton array was built during this period, which played an essential role in ENSO prediction in recent decades. After 2000, SPICE and IMPULSE were endorsed by CLIVER as 2 major joint international programs in this region. As a goal of IMPULSE to improve the understanding of the Northwestern Pacific Ocean circulation and dynamics, and its role in warm pool maintenance and the low frequency variability, modulation of ENSO cycle, the East Asia monsoon variability, and tropical cyclone through getting the joint cooperation research in 5 themes. And this program was endorsed by Clever WCIP in April 2010 and inaugurated in May. The second part is the scientific progress. In the past about 10 years, the IMPOS organized successfully many field experiments and established the large-scale observational network in this area. For example, the Chinese Academy of Sciences, the IOCAS, deployed and maintained subsurface moorings, including 10 moorings with real-time data transmission mode. And so far, there have been 6 to 7 years time series of temperature, salinity, and currents. Also, IOCAS cooperated with ROC LIPI to organize several joint cruises in Indonesia seas between 2014 and 2021. And Arnold Gordon organized 10 years Makassar Strait through flow observation, and Billy Kessler carried out the 10 years glider crossings in Solomon Sea, and Fei Chai deployed several BGC Argo, and the KILS, the Gaia's third stage, deployed more than 2,000 profiles drifters. And so far, there have been more than 150 papers on this topic, including IMPOS Science Plan, published in 2011, the special sections of JGR Oceans with 32 papers published, and a review paper in Nature topic that's the Pacific Western Boundary Currents and their climatic impacts in 2015, and a review on observational studies in Western Tropical Pacific Ocean climate and circulation and climate in Journal of Oceanology and Limnology in 2020, and lots of other papers published in the journals in ocean and climate. And based on so many observation and study, and substantial progress has been made on the three-dimensional structure, multi-scale variability, and dynamic mechanism of the subsurface current system in Western Pacific, including the equatorial intermediate currents, structure and variability, the discovery of the North Equatorial subsurface current, and the direct measurements of the Mindanao undercurrent and Luzon undercurrent by mooring. And the recent data and research demonstrated some new insight on the climatic effects of the Western Pacific Ocean circulation on interannual and decadal timescales. For example, the decadal meridional geostrophic transport in the Western Tropical Pacific was found to lead the PDO index 1 to 3 years, demonstrating their precursor effects on the PDO. And with the joint efforts by the IMPOS SSC members, the role of physical processes in transporting nutrients such as available iron in the upper Western Pacific is investigated through model simulation and biogeochemical algal flows observations. The new identifying strong subsurface marine heat waves may hurt fishery production in the tropical Western Pacific. Nevertheless, a better understanding of the complexity of the physical and the biogeochemical processes in this area is highly desired. So the multidisciplinary cooperation and observation in the future study. And the last part is about the collaboration between the IMPOS and the CSK2. I just give 3 suggestions. The first is the cooperation on field experiment. We would suggest we can both organize a synchronized observation of Kuroshio from its origin to its extension, and the collaboration on some objective observations with emphasis on biogeochemical processes. The second suggestion is jointly organizing the international conference. In the past 10 years, the IMPOS have already organized successfully 3 open science symposium, and the 4th will be happen in late next year. And also from the next year, we will organize a series of webinar for early career scientists. We do hope we can organize this kind of events together with CSK2. And the third suggestion is data sharing. The IMPOS have gradually released some field observation data through the data center of IMPOS. The first element is some cruise data, and from next year, the mooring observation will be released gradually. Of course, we're open or sharing with CSK2 community, and in the future, we hope we can exchange and share our data frequently and to jointly promote our cooperation research. That's all. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Ando.
Thank you very much, Fang. A very nice talk. I also feel there are several, collaboration points from the view of science. Thank you very much. Some comments or questions to Fang? I would like to accept 1 or 2 questions from the floor. Okay, we may able to have time to discuss more. So thank you very much. Please stay here until the end of the incubator. So next speaker is from NIAGOOS chairperson, observing network and forecasting system of NIAGOOS. So Lembo, can you start?
Thanks, Ken. Can you see my screen?
Yeah. Could you please change to presentation mode? Oh, this is presenter's mode.
Okay. I will change it
Screen
back.
mode. Yeah.
How about now?
Yeah, good. Thank you very much. Yeah, please start.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Rainbow Pang from National Marine Environmental Forecast Center, a colleague of Dr. Guimi Liu, who is chairperson of NIAGOOS. Due to time conflict, she asked me to introduce observing network and forecasting systems of NIAGOOS. So the Northeast Asia Regional GOOS is a regional pilot project for GOOS. It's implemented by China, Japan, Republic of Korea, and Russia. NIAGOOS aims at facilitating the sharing of oceanographic data and the developing the forecasting system in the Northeast Asia regional seas and coastal regions. You can see in the photo, the area of NIAGOOS is the circle. Kuroshio is right in this area of near Goose. There are 8 ocean observing data sharing portals from 4 member states. Each member states have one national real-time database, shortly called NRTDB. The other one is National Delayed Mode Database, shortly called NDMDB. Here is a good example of near-Goose databases from RDMDB of Japan. You can see 59 types of data was shared in RDMDB of Japan. The total volume is over 233 gigabytes as of September 2021. The highest number of hits on RDMDB of Japan is over 37,000. Here is the Near Goose Gateway website. We are developing it. It will be in pilot service by the end of this year. In this website, we provide metadata of observing tools under Near Goose. Until now, there are 48 ocean stations, 8 buoys, and 3 ships shared in this website. You can see the ocean observing variables and the real downloading links for all these 2 observing tools. Under Near Goose, we also provide ocean forecasting products, including wind, current, sea surface height, temperature, and the wave. According to the discussion in Near Goose, China provides current and sea surface height. Korea provides wind. Japan provides temperature. And Russia provides wave. There is also joint ship opportunity in the pilot project of climate monitoring section. There is a success story between Japan and Russia through this pilot project to share ship opportunity and the observation data since 2011. Considering cooperation with CSK project, as I mentioned before, there are 3 areas we can work together. So for observing data and forecasting products, Near Goose provide operational and stable services. For the joint ship opportunity, like Professor Wang mentioned from INPOS, we also can share ship opportunity in the pilot project or climate monitoring section. So there are many areas we can cooperate in CSK project and the Near Goose project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'd like to accept 1 or 2 questions or comment from the floor. 谢谢。Any comments? All right, thank you very much. So I'd like to move to the another speaker.
Thank you, Kim.
Yeah, thank you very much. Next speaker is Julia from National Marine Data and Information Service. Her title is Ocean Data and Information Network for the WESTPAC region.
Thank you, Ando-san. And I would like to also thank Xiaopei for the invitation and for all the conveners for the opportunity. I would like to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes. Please change
Okay.
to the
Okay, presentation mode. How about now?
Yes, good. Thank you.
Okay. I know time is limited, so I will be brief. In the next few minutes, I will talk about the Ocean Data Information Network for the West Pacific region. And there will be 3 parts in my talk. First, the general information. The Ocean Data Information Network of West Pacific region was hosted and now hosted by the National Marine Data Information Service. And for those of you who first time heard this name, I would like to introduce a few words. So it's a government-funded public institution subordinates to the Ministry of Natural Resources and providing the guidance and scientific stewardship for the National Marine Data Information Service. And also NMDIS is serving as the IOD National Oceanographic Data Center of China. The website of Audin WESTPAC, the URL, you can see it from this slide. And next. So I would like to say a few words for the history of this pilot project and now the project. The pilot project proposal was proposed at the 3rd International Workshop on Gold Day WESTPAC in 2016. And then the proposal was approved at the IOD session in 2007 and the IOC WESTPAC side in 2008. And NMDIS was approved and designated as the host center for this project. The objective for Audin WESTPAC includes develop a marine data information network that will promote data information exchange and collaboration between the WESTPAC member states and with the global IOD network, and provide a number of marine data information products, ocean knowledge to serve the needs of West Pacific member states and other audience and IOD member in data and information management, oceanographic research, marine environmental protection, marine hazard and prevention and mitigation. And also there will be a objective focusing on develop cooperation with other international and regional projects in data information collection, processing and management. Also to implement the relevant capacity building activities with special focus on the data and information management and services. At the 24th session of IODE, Audin WESTPAC was adopted as an official project. You can see the member states from this slide covers all the area of Western Pacific region. And this slide shows you the active marine institutes and agencies of Audin WESTPAC member states. Of course, from the web portal, there are much more institute and agencies listed. This is just a schematic graph. And who are we? And this slide shows you the member states, membership of the internal advisory group for Audin WESTPAC, identified at the first session of advisory group in 2016, and the second ad hoc meeting of Audin WESTPAC held online this year, the previous month, last month. You can see Dr. Shi Suixiang is the project coordinator. He is the Deputy Director General at my institute. And we have Professor Yuta Gamishida from Japan, and also the director from JODC as the advisory group member. And also Greg Reed from Australia, and AD from Malaysia, and Dr. Jinxi Li from Korea. And also Mariana Frederick from Indonesia. As mentioned, there is an centralized data portal of Auditing WESTPAC, and from that portal, you may find the observations from China oceanographic stations, regional real analysis data for China seas and adjacent waters, and also some marine meteorological and oceanographic climate graphics over the North Pacific region. And we have also these marine literacy service, mainly from currently the papers are mainly from the national from the Marine Science Bulletin and China Argo Data Center newsletter. From this website, you can also find more than 40,000 ocean experts and information about 10,000 about 1,000 ocean institutes and agencies in the region. So here are some figures. They're current from the previous intersessional working period. We have updated 72 data sets with the total volume of 1.9 TB, and we have increased to more than 470 users. And so the monthly access frequency is about 2,500, and accumulated download is more than 330 gigabytes. And this slide shows you some capacity building activities. For example, the Ocean Auditing WESTPAC capacity building course conducted in 2014, which is focusing on the use of ODP and the registration and dissemination of metadata. And the steering group meeting and advisory group meeting, as I mentioned, in 2016 and this year online. And the workshops that and outreach activities includes the session of ocean observation, data information management in the Indo-Pacific major advantages and challenges in 2017. And in that workshop, we had 15 oral presentations and 10 posters, and from the participants are from more than 10 member states in the region. And also the regional workshop on the contribution of oceanographic data information management and exchange to the ocean sustainable development was conducted in 2017. And we have a lot of focusing on the outreach activities, such as the other international academic workshops, for example, the International Symposium on Digital Earth and the World Data System conferences. Currently, as you may aware that there are different levels of marine ocean data information management institute and agencies. At the national level, it's a National Oceanographic Data Center and also some associate data units. So in the region, this slides, you may see how we have many NODCs and ADUs. They are all the partner of Auditing WESTPAC. And from the right side of the slide, you may see that quality management framework is implemented in the region. We need to guarantee the data and products quality. And so this is just an example of the accreditation from the IODE side. As for the future cooperation, I think there will be 3 points. I mean, contribute to the IOC WESTPAC community in general, and that could be CSK2 in particular. First, to enhance the regional cooperation and facilitate and promote the exchange of all marine data information, including the QC and QA of oceanographic and marine meteorological observations. And second is assist member states to acquire necessary capacity to manage marine data and information, for example, providing links and I mean, in synergy with the Autica RTC Tianjin and Autica RTC UMT. And third is closely cooperate with and support the other programs and of IOD and IOC WESTPAC, including, as mentioned by Renbo's near goose and sea goose, Pisces, of course, CSK2 particularly. And that will be all for my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you very much. So any comment or questions to the activities on IOC ODIN WESTPAC in this region? Please raise your hand or write questions on the chat box. Julia, I have questions. So in ODIN WESTPAC, do you start the management of biogeochemical parameters as well as the physical parameters?
Yeah, in the past, we just focusing more on the traditional physical oceanography, which mainly are the physical and meteorological parameters. But in the future, we are open to the biochemical parameters for sure.
But I think it is not easy to manage such biogeochemical and chemical parameters. So do you have something like to discuss about the standardization of data management under the IOC or IODE?
From IOD side, I know there's OBIS. For sure, they have this very mature data format and other QC procedures. For within the framework of ODIN WESTPAC, I think we need to start this dialogue in the future, in the very near future, and because there's a very strong need from the region, and the biogeochemical data are very important for mirroring the status of the ocean. And we have accumulated a lot of data from multiple sensors. So thank you so much for this recommendation. I will start this dialogue soon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So any questions to Julia? Okay, thank you, Julia. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I would move to the yes, please wait a moment. So the next speaker is Hirose-san from MRI. His title is Application and Services with Operational Ocean Forecasting System in JMA.
Okay. How about this?
Yes.
Can you see the full screen?
Yes, full screen, yes.
Yes, thank you, conveners and participants. I'm very pleased to have this opportunity to talk to you today. I'm Nadia Hirose from Meteorological Research Institute, Japan Meteorological Agency. Today, I'd like to talk about the application and services with operational ocean forecasting system in JMA. First, I'd like to talk about the history of the operational ocean system in JMA. So JMA has developed operational ocean systems over 20 years. The major improvement of the systems are horizontal resolution and assimilation scheme. In the last 2 decades, for horizontal resolution is increased from 25 kilometer to the 22 kilometer. And assimilation scheme has advanced from the optimal integration to 4D assimilation. This is the current configuration of our operational system. So I'll show you current operational system briefly, and this is called shortly MOVE JPN. So this system is in operation since last year, and this is developed to monitor and forecast coastal seas and open ocean. So JPN model covers this region with a resolution of 2 kilometers, and it can represent the warm water into the bay with respect to the Kuroshio. This is a small bay. So this is similar to the satellite observation. And this system applies tidal forcing, so we can get semi-diurnal sea level variations like this. To obtain the initial condition of the JPM model, we adopted incremental method, which adds temperature and salinity field produced by 4D assimilation. Our 4D assimilation scheme produce the best analysis of the temperature and salinity by using the observation data, including the satellite and in-situ data. Here, I'll show you the targets in MoveJPN. So in the previous system, its target is mainly mid-scale phenomena in open ocean, include the Kuroshio. However, the new system, the targets it has extended towards the shorter and smaller scale. For example, the system can represent the coast drop waves, and we can see the propagation of the sea level along the coast. And in this figure, so we can see the frontal waves along the Kuroshio, and one of them includes the bay. It's similar to the satellite observation. So these phenomena are the new targets in our system. Here, I'll show you some applications for the Kuroshio in JMA. This is the current map at 50-meter depth. And generally, Kuroshio takes typical three types of paths like this. So to determine the Kuroshio path position, so distance from the coast is estimated by the current distribution. By using this information and as observation, so JMA has diagnosed and issued information about the Kuroshio meander. It has continued since September 2017 to the present. So after that, so Kuroshio has separated from the coast from here. So it changed the Kuroshio path, and it also changed the for sea condition. So we can see the for warm and cold anomalies at the south of Japan. So it will affect the fishery and marine ecosystem. So it's important to monitor the Kuroshio path. Next, I'll show you two applications for the coastal events, which for the MoveJPN has focused on. When the Kuroshio approaches to the coast, it causes a high sea level without severe storms, and sometimes inundations occur. This is a previous case of the inundation in the Central Indian Sea in September 2011. Last year, there is a similar condition in the Central Indian Sea. So you can see the high sea level anomaly around the Central Indian Sea. So at that time, so the Kuroshio approached to the coast, and it contributes to the high sea level in the Central Indian Sea. So this is invested by the Operation Ocean System. So this information is supportive and useful when JMA will issue storm surge warning. And another example is strong coastal current. It sometimes damages or destroys fishing nets, and it will lead to the huge amount of economical loss. So it's important to provide the coastal current information. JMA has a plan to offer the coastal current information to the local fishery government. We are thinking about the current map and the forecasted maximum speed to the other information. So it will be useful for local fishery organization and their activities. However, I think there is one big issue to monitor or capture the coastal phenomena. This figure shows the observation distribution used in one assimilation cycle in our system. So we can see that for many data, but there is no sparse data between the coastal region and open ocean. So it's difficult to capture the coastal events, frontal waves, or a coastal storm current. However, unfortunately, for this region is a relatively dense observation network. So this is a result of some mooring buoys, and I was able to compare the estimated current against observation. In addition, recently, so HF radar has started to observe the surface current at this region. So we should combine this data to monitor and capture the coastal phenomena. But I think more observation data is required, and it will have higher temporal and spatial resolution. It is very variable, not only for research but also for operational system. And this contribution will lead to be beneficial for fishery activities. This is my comment for CFK2 project. Finally, I'll explain the ocean services in JMA. JMA provides some ocean products such as temperature, the currents, like this. You can see the temperature and current map on the website. And this data are forecasted for 11 days around Japan and 30 days in the North Pacific. If we want to use the data directly, there are some data services. One is Japan Meteorological Business Support Center, but it requires some fees. And another is NearGoof. So if you want to use the data from the NearGoof, so GPV can be downloaded. So these data are used for applications about ocean products, such as marine safety, economical shipping routing, fishery services. This application is, so our data is used for this application in the economical company, and these applications are used in JMA. I summarized this presentation. So I explained the new operational system in JMA, Move JPN. This system in operation since last year, and it has a 2-kilometer horizontal resolution around Japan. This system can capture the coastal events as well as mescal variations. So, and I explained some application for the Kuroshio, such as Kuroshio path position and Kuroshio large meander. In addition, Kuroshio attributed to the warm intrusion or high COL and strong coastal currents. So these are the new targets in our system. However, for more observation data are required, I think. So it's useful for, firstly, for validation in our system, and finally, used for assimilation. And I explained some JMA product, ocean product, like this. That's all my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Hirose-san. I would also accept 1 or 2 questions or comments from the floor. Please raise your hand or write the chat box your question. Yeah, I have very small question about the data set by JMA.
Yes.
so you mentioned it's not free. So is it how much if I will buy the data sets?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
For yeah. But this is for real-time data.
Mm.
So if we conduct some real-life data, it will be used firstly for research. So
Mhm.
I think it will be a free open
Okay.
access, I think.
Okay. Okay, I see. Yeah, and any other question? And my another question is so is GMA try to simulate the BGC parameters also, or GMA we only focusing on the physical parameters?
Yes. So our numerical model has some component of biogeochemical component,
Mm.
but for now operation system is used for the only physical component.
Okay.
So I'm not sure the future.
Okay, I see. Yeah. So if the in case of Japan Fishery Agency may do this or collaborate with GMA.
Yes, I think.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to move to the next speakers. So next speaker is Professor Jinxi Su from Chinese Academy of Meteorological Sciences.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. So I share my understanding of the ocean observation from the need of meteorological forecasting. I mean CMA. So
Jinxi, could you please change to the presentation mode?
sorry.
Presentation mode, please. It is editing mode.
Can you?
可以用放映模式。
这就是，no
现在不是放映模式。
哦，现在是呀。
哎，我们这边看您的不是放映模式。
No.
Not yet, not yet.
Yeah, not yet， 不是放映模式。
需要切换一下共享屏幕。
哦，您的共享屏幕可能不是在那个放映模式内。
Okay, sorry. I'm not used. But okay.
哎，好了。
Okay, thank you. In here, we can only obtain the observation from the global satellite like this. In the Western Pacific Ocean, we can see that the observation is limited. But I can show you the problem. Some problem I in my understanding. One problem is the difference between the satellite derived values and the values from the buoys and oil oil platform and the island station. So we can see that the wind direct from the buoys match the satellite did very well, but the oil platform and the island is smaller than the satellite did. This is one question in my study. And another question is in some platform. This is one from oil platform. This platform is there's several height level. In the different level, we can see that the measure of the wind is different. But in many cases, we don't know with the detailed levels in the for the typhoon direct correction. So another problem to study and operation in the CMA. And so the some problem like this, some information of the ocean observation is missed in satellite. So we have to find the detailed meta information from the other websites. So it's anyway with sometimes in operation. And another, in fact, the meta information is important in the application of both in study and in the operational. Yes, this such like the ship ID and the period and the quality control information is very important, I think. So I comments for the evaluation to share the meta office meta data in the website. Another question I think is the need for the observation in the mode of forest cutting. In here, I show the importance of the ocean observation for the subseasonal to seasonal forest cutting. Usually, the forest cut is limited to 7 or 10 days in traditional weather forecast. But in the climate prediction, usually we focus about the 30 days, several months. So there's a gap between the weather forecast and the climate prediction. So to meet the need of the for the subseasonal prediction, we need one is need the high resolution for coupled model, and another is the need for the multi-component observation from both for the ocean and land and ice. So in ocean, I think the ocean data is very important for the initialization and also for the validation for the model output. And in the present day, the ocean observation is limited compared with the hemisphere observation. So, but the ocean observation is a major source for the subseasonal to seasonal prediction. So we have to know that the SIT we can obtain from satellite, but that's not enough. So some information must obtained before for recutting to obtain the initial condition, such as the ocean heat and for the subseasonal time schedule. And so we have to know the wind and also the waves and the air, sea flux, this, and then also the subsurface heat contents, and also the density structure to initialize the ocean models. And this one example for the forest cutting in the high resolution models. This is the one case for the Typhoon Mai in 2007. So we can say that in the high resolution model, 10 kilometers coupled with the atmosphere and ocean and the ice and land did cut model. In the coupled model, after the typhoon, that cold week after the typhoon. So the such condition in the ocean, both for the temperature in the surface temperature and both for the subsurface temperature is also important for the ocean model initial current, initial condition. So this my present is very short. This is my understanding from the view of the scientist. So thank you.
Thank you very much. So I want two questions from the floor.
Okay.
Yeah. No questions from the floor? So the time is limited, so thank you very much. I will do next speakers. Thank you.
Thank you.
So next speaker is Professor Yeonjun Tian. He will talk about importance of cooperation between scientists and stakeholders towards the sustainable use and management of fishery resources in the Kuroshio ecosystem. So Yeonjun, please.
Thank you, Ando-san. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes. Please change to the presentation mode.
Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay. Thank Ando-san and Shopee for invitation. I'm very glad to have this opportunity to talk about some fisheries issues in the Kuroshio ecosystem. I'm Yeonjun Tian from the Ocean University of China. My talk have the two parts. Firstly, I will briefly introduce the status of the world fisheries production, and secondly, we using the two fish species to talk about the cooperations and the possible mechanisms between the scientists and the stakeholders. So this is the change in the world fisheries production, and you can see there is an increasing trend, but the increase is after the 1990s is largely depending on the aquaculture. The marine capture fisheries shows a steady trend. The top 10 global capture producers contribution more than half of the total world fisheries productions. Among the top 10 countries, you can see here 5 countries are located in this region, including the China, Indonesia, Russia, Vietnam, and Japan. Also, India also is Asian countries. The fish consumption in this region is particularly increasing, and the fish plays an important role in the animal protein supply in countries of Northwest Pacific. However, based on the fish stock assessment report, after the 2000, you can see here almost of the fish stock in the world oceans are overexploited and fully exploited. This is indicating that there is a big challenge for the sustainable development of fisheries resources. Among the 17 SDGs of United Nations, the SDG 14 aims to conserve and sustainably use the ocean and marine fisheries resource. However, under the multiple pressures of climate change and overexploitation, the achievement of the SDG 14 faces a serious threat. Here, you can see the many multiple pressures. So let's focus among the Northwest Pacific Oceans regions. So these regions has a high abundance fisheries species with a high fisheries production here. Also, the impact of human activities and ocean warming is mostly significantly in these regions. And the ocean dynamic process is very complex, as well as the Kuroshio current impact here. Fish species in these regions is characterized with the highly migratory fishes from the small pelagic species such as sardine to large fish species such as tunas. So the Kuroshio current plays an important role on fish recruitment, transport eggs and larvae in the spawning ground in the Kuroshio waters to the nursery and feeding ground in the ocean waters. So climate variability have a large impact in the fish communities, induced the non-linearity and the non-stationarity relationships in the pelagic communities. Then I move to my second part of this talk. The first example is Japanese eel. As you know, the Japanese eel has a very mysterious life history. The spawning ground of the Japanese eel is located in the West Mariana Trench, just here, and the larva is transported to the coastal countries of Asians by the NEC and the Kuroshio current, and glass eel captures in the Asian countries support the eel aquaculture. So the NEC and the Kuroshio current plays an important role in the fish recruitment success. But the recruitment process from the spawning ground to the coastal countries and the spawning migration of the adult eel are not well understood yet. From the spawning to the consumers, there are different concerns among the stakeholders. The scientists want to know how the oceanic current affects the eel recruitment, and the glass eel capture and aquaculture firms mostly care about how many glass eel will come to the coastal waters. And for the policymakers, they how to monitor and manage the cross-border migratory stock is a big challenge. The Japanese catch of adult eel in the river declined largely, indicating the overexploitation of the eel stocks. Also, the glass eel capture in the Asian countries and the trade to the Japan have a large impact on the stock. So both the domestic and the international monitoring and the management are important for the sustainable use of the Japanese eel stock. Another example is skipjack tuna. Skipjack tuna is widely distributed in the world oceans, and they have a high commercial values with the high catch in the world. So this is some basic information for the skipjack tuna, and skipjack tuna make a large-scale migration from the tropical waters to the north colder waters for feeding. The green line represent the different migration route. So Kuroshio current has a large impact on the migration pattern. So how to forecast the distribution and the migration also under the fishing ground is a big challenge. Also is a very big scientific issues for skipjack tunas. There are several fisheries commissions in this region. So comparisons with the, but they have different target species. Also, they have a different areas. So the cooperations with the regional fisheries commissions also between the fisheries and the oceanic organization is particularly important for the understanding and the fish population dynamics and the management of the fishery resource. This is an illustration for smart fisheries. The core concept is a fisheries forecast system. So from the observation to the applications, an integrated fishery forecast system is important for all the stakeholders, and also is need the cooperation between the oceanographer and the fisheries stakeholders. Finally, is a summary. I just mentioned some the two or 3 points. The Kuroshio current plays a big role in supporting fish stocks, particularly for the migratory fishes such as Japanese eel and the tunas. Cooperations between the fisheries research and the oceanographers is particularly important in understanding the recruitment process for the migratory fishes. And so finally, maybe an integrated CSK2 project is expected to very important for the fisheries research also and the ecosystem-based management. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Yunjin. And time just for one quick question. Is there any question? Okay, so if no, we will move to the next speaker. So the next speaker is Dr. Santos. Okay, so Dr. Santos, are you here?
Yep. Can I share my slides now?
Okay, sure. So please.
Is that okay?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Lee, Dr. Ando, and also to everyone. Good morning. I'll provide some Philippine Fisheries Agency perspective on the Kuroshio current. And I just want to thank Dr. Tian for already providing the connectivity part of these fisheries in the area. Okay, this area, this northeastern Philippines where Kuroshio current is passing is really, we think is very important for us in the Philippines for many reasons. As early as 2011, Carpenter et al., I am included in this paper, we already proposed a sort of a separate management or fishery management unit in this area as part of a unique biogeographic area using concordant phylogeographic breaks. Basically, this is based on a number of studies which showed that many species like the giant clams are unique in this particular area in terms of the stocks compared to the other regions of the Philippines. This can be seen in Tridacna corsea, this can be seen in a siganid, the Siganis fuscescens, and even in a sea cucumber in Holoturia scabra. In addition, when we look at the species distribution, not only the genetics part, but species distribution points to us that, again, this northeastern side of the Philippines is very unique. We've started discovering new records of, for example, Sardinella hualiensis, the Taiwanese sardines, which is a first record in the country and can only be found in the north. For many years, the Pacific bluefin tuna has been thought of occurring in this region and even spawning in that area, but only in 2016 that we were able to prove that actually the Tunus orientalis, specifically the mummies, is actually occurring in the northeast side of the Philippines. A very, very important commercially important tuna species. And in 2017, we continued to discover like a new species of a surgeonfish, which again, we only found in this particular area. It's a new species. And even for marine mammals like the humpback whale, we know that the humpback whale is occurring only in the northern side of the country, not nowhere else in the country. Again, pointing to that very important northeastern side of the Philippines where the Kuroshio current is passing. And when we look at the fishery, again, it shows to us how important it is. So for example, this is a study published in 2020, a larval survey conducted by the MVDA BFAR, where we can see that this area has a large concentration of tuna larvae in it. And no wonder, for example, we do have an annual sports fishing there where sports fishers catch these large pelagic fishes. And many of those are breeders. And so, again, pointing to the importance of the area. I have seen, for example, a dogtooth tuna fishery in the Batanes Islands. I haven't seen this kind of fish, I mean, this big of a fish, a dogtooth tuna elsewhere in the country, but only in the north, again, pointing to the importance of the area for a large pelagic fishery. And we also know that a lot of the shark fishing that's conducted there, particularly, for example, in Kaohsiung, Taiwan, is occurring in that area of the country. So apparently, the Northeast Philippines is a unique biogeographic region. We're pretty sure it's being influenced by the Kuroshio current. It has a unique commercially important demersal and large pelagic fishery. And we know that, or we think that it's really a possible spawning grounds for large pelagics and other species. And we also think that Benham or Philippine rice has something to do with the biodiversity and fishery in the area. Now, in the Philippines, very recently, we've established what we call the fishery management areas, 12 of them. And each FMA has its management board and a science advisory group. So this is pretty new management strategy. And as you can see, that biogeographic area in what I've already presented is actually, we position that as the FMA1 in our present fisheries management system. And we do need to support, as I've said, the management boards and the science advisory groups needs science. And for example, we do have this National Stock Assessment Program. It's a landed catch and effort monitoring, and you can access that online, where we provide fisheries data to these management boards and SAGs. However, since it is very new, there is a big need in terms of strengthening these MBs and SAGs. We know little about actually the development and management of the large oceanic pelagic fisheries there. The spawning grounds, we need to really study that to establish, for example, MPAs and refuges. And we really need to know the effects of environmental oceanic conditions to the fisheries in the area. Now, in terms of the climate change impacts, we know that the Philippines is almost always a top 10 in this talk and in this concerns. Like in this global climate risk index, Philippines is number 4, simply because we have a high exposure to natural calamities, especially that Pacific seaboard. Our fisheries, our fishing grounds, for example, are highly sensitive because a lot of threats are happening there. And we have a very low adaptive capacity, especially on the population that are in that area, because studies show that they are poorest of the poor. So we are really very vulnerable to climate change. And when we go back to the FMA1 and the Kuroshio current, if this is impacted then by climate change, then things like this can happen. For example, the displacement of tuna when El Nino happens in 1992. Studies have already been predicting that some of these species are going to have some local extinctions as massive reductions if projections continue. And we do have some studies projecting that already, for example, skipjack spawning habitats are already changing and in becoming less and less. And so it begs the question now in terms of possible collaboration. We really need to know whether there will be a change in biogeographic, biodiversity, environmental patterns in the area. Will there be disappearance of large oceanic pelagic fisheries? I have shown you it's very important in that area. How about the spawning habitats and migration? And then how do we adapt for the fish, for the people, and the fishery? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Santos. It's very interesting. And is there any question? Yeah, we had time for 1 or 2 questions. Okay, so I just have a small question, and you show some future projection of the species under like global warming, and
yeah.
So is there any like strategies that the government try to face this future climate change?
Yeah, well, that's a very good question. Actually, we are, as I've said, there are some projections already, and we are trying to input that in terms of our planning for adaptation. In some of the big projects that are upcoming, we already are looking at like vulnerability and hazard assessments as part of our planning. So yes, we incorporate that already, but in terms of very specific, like large-scale studies, for example, we don't have that yet, and we're hoping we can have that with your help.
Okay, so I think that's what the CSK2 will help with.
Yes, thank you, sir. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you.
Dr. Saito is raising his hand.
Yeah. Okay, so please. Yeah, Dr. Sato, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you very much. Very interesting talk, and I'm very interested in how North Equatorial Current influence North Equatorial Current influence the productivity of physical oceanography, everything, and your proposal for future collaboration is very exciting for us. And but I heard in the last a few years ago in foreign research vessel is impossible to foreign research vessel.
Yes, sir.
Impossible to get into the Philippine EEG because of presidential order. So now, what is the situation of the this ban of the? Yeah.
Yes, sir. I think it's not like it's prohibited or banned. I think it just has to pass through channels, like appropriate channels from the Department of Foreign Affairs and the National Coast Watch. So I think it can happen, and I know there are some proposals for that one happening. So yes, I think yes, sir. With collaboration, of course, definitely with local institutions, definitely, and of course, if we're going to pass through the proper channels, then I don't think there's a problem, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you all, and we will move to the next speak. The next speaker is Oguma and Sasaki, and so please.
Thank you very much. I'd like to share my screen.
Yeah, thank you, Oguma. Okay, yeah.
Can you see here?
Yeah, okay, sure.
Oh. Okay, thank you very much for inviting me to make a presentation at such a great incubator session. I'm Sachiko Oguma, a researcher of Ocean Policy Research Institute, Sasaka Peace Foundation. Today, I'd like to talk about the importance of linking between research and education to disseminate CSK2 findings as our ocean literacy as a Kuroshio literacy. So ocean literacy is defined as an understanding of the ocean's influence on us and our influence on the ocean by ocean literacy or ocean literacy for all. In project proposal of CSK2, Kuroshio literacy is newly defined for the Kuroshio as shown here. So while ocean literacy focuses on the interaction between the ocean and people, Kuroshio literacy is aiming on understanding of the Kuroshio and its interaction with surrounding area. So after learning ocean literacy, people are expected to be ocean literate people who can communicate about ocean issues and can make informed and responsible decisions that lead to appropriate actions regarding the ocean and its resources. From this point, ocean literacy is not just knowledge about the state of the ocean, but a deeper understanding of our individual and collective responsibilities to take care of the ocean. So Kuroshio literate people are also expected to be able to understand the importance of the mutual interaction between Kuroshio and associated systems in our daily lives. And it requires basic understanding of marine science concepts. So why do we need Kuroshio literacy? So for example, regarding the drifting of pumice from Fukutoku Okanova, which erupted in August this year, various studies have been conducted using satellite images or numerical models. Such scientific tools help us understand the process of the disaster occurrence and to plan disaster prevention measures. However, people are less understanding of marine science of Kuroshio. Here can hear these familiar words for scientists, but not for citizens. So on my first slide, a schematic figure of Kuroshio region is shown. It is schematic for scientists, but it is technical and difficult enough for citizens, at least Japanese people. The course of study, Gakushu Shidou Yoryo in Japan, specified the ocean-related issues to be learned mainly in social studies. Here are examples from atlas used in elementary school and junior high school in Japan. Surface current fields around Japan and in North Pacific are more simplified. In 8th grade, students learn air-sea interaction as a part of meteorology. However, they don't learn about ocean science only. So some schools are engaging ocean education following their original curriculum, but it is a very few cases among Japanese public schools. So before we disseminate Kuroshio knowledge as Kuroshio literacy, we have to be aware of this knowledge gap between research and education. So the word dissemination reminds us distribution of online contents or distribution of materials such as printed materials and experiment kits, or hands-on activities at the beach, visiting aquarium, and so on. But before dissemination, we have to discuss, so what is the importance of the mutual interaction between the Kuroshio and associated systems? It is too long, so hereafter Kuroshio interaction. And how do we interpret the experts' knowledge for Kuroshio to students or citizens? Here, interpret means explain in an easy to understand way according to understanding level. So the first issue is what importance of cross interaction. So first of all, there is the famous phrase, think globally, act locally. The idea is to study, the idea is to start with what we can do locally while thinking about things from global perspective. But looking at these issues from both local and global perspectives, we believe that we will have an opportunity to think about how to respect the ocean as a whole. So let's replace this globally with Kuroshio. Think about Kuroshio and Kuroshio interaction. The Kuroshio interaction is related to these issues, which directly affect daily lives or of the people in the surrounding countries. As we know, the Kuroshio current does not flow in a one-way direction, but a part of a subtropical gyre circulating in North Pacific. So like this circulation, we should combine the findings of this each sea area and should share them as Kuroshio literacy. So to disseminate the findings of CSK2 research as Kuroshio literacy, it is necessary to share not only among science, to disseminate the findings of CSK2 research as Kuroshio literacy, it is necessary to share not only among science communities, but also with citizens and children. In order to link these two, we need people who can organize the knowledge and explain it like interpreter in a more understandable world according to the level of understanding of the people there. If people knew more about the Kuroshio region, they would be able to think more deeply about the background of issues and take action to prevent them. So the second issue is how to interpret the Kuroshio literacy. To make people understand the concepts of the marine science as well as the knowledge of the Kuroshio region, it is necessary to tailor the knowledge to the level of understanding of the students. As a practical example, I would like to introduce the Hay River Cherry Salmon Manabi project here after HMP. The Hay River is located in Iwate Prefecture in Japan. The project aims to improve the resilience and sustainability of the forests, rivers, and oceans by learning about the ecology of cherry salmon and traditional knowledge. The program is led by aquatic marine environment education leaders who have studied communication and outdoor activity leadership in the university. And this program has been introduced in Ocean Literacy for All, published in IOC UNESCO, and there are already participants from overseas. I think such a system of leader training can be used for capacity development of ocean education in other Asian regions. Also, if students or young researchers have the opportunity to do hands-on learning and teaching with citizens, they will be able to acquire the outreach skills to link science with society. So, besides HMP, there are various other practices in various countries. So in Asia, there is an Asia Marine Educators Association, AMEA, which is a group of researchers that specialize in ocean literacy construction and education methods. They aim to build a learning system that is tailored to the characteristics of the Asian oceans. So this is summary. In order to disseminate the findings of CSK2 as Kuroshio literacy, ocean literacy for Kuroshio region, and to encourage Asian people to be Kuroshio literate people, we must first sort the scientific knowledge and interpret them to link scientists and citizens. And in the case of the HMP, training communicators or leaders also said capacity development is needed to establish a method for communicating in an easy to understand way to people. And then it is hoped that we can foster Kuroshio literate people by developing and distributing educational materials that support deeper understanding, and by providing hands-on activities using virtual technology. Finally, all people living along the Kuroshio should be able to co-design and co-work for a sustainable Kuroshio and the oceans. Thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Ogum. Time just for one quick question. Is there any question? Okay, if no, we will move to the next speaker. And the next speaker, or the last speaker, is Dr. Tanaka. Yeah, Dr. Tanaka, are you here?
Thank you so much, Professor Lin.
Okay, so please share your screen.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see. Okay, please.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Kiyoshi Tanaka from University of Tokyo, Japan. Today, I'll talk about an ongoing collaborative study with stakeholders in coastal region of the Kuroshio. The core researchers, as you can see, core researchers, as you can see, not only research institute at Tokyo, but also the university and the local government at the actual place, such as Tokai University and Shizuoka prefectures are included in this. I'd like to talk about, I'd like to take broad views of the Kuroshio. As well known, the Kuroshio is the largest oceanic current in the northern hemisphere, and it has a great influence on Earth's climate. At the same time, Kuroshio current system includes various kinds of regional circulation, and it has great influence on coastal environment around the western North Pacific. These figures illustrate the coastal circulation affected by the Kuroshio. As you can see, the disturbance flows are often detached from the Kuroshio and captured into coastal bays, and they drive regional circulation like this. Here, this area is Suruga Bay, our target area. As you can see, the Kuroshio warm water intrude into the bay. So the Suruga Bay is one of the areas where strong interaction occurs between coastal circulation and Kuroshio. This panel shows regional marine environment and fisheries and aquaculture are greatly affected by the Kuroshio. The left figure shows the surface chlorophyll observed by a meteorological satellite. As you can see, the distribution of chlorophyll is greatly affected by the interaction between coastal circulation and the Kuroshio. And upper right figure shows a fishing port in Suruga Bay. The importance of the collaborative study will be presented. In our project, in-site observation is being performed together with fishers. For example, a mooring of data instrument are hung on ordinary fishing net like this. Moreover, a shipboard surveys made using ordinary fishing boat like this. So, and this photograph shows that mooring of loggers is being deployed by fishers on their boats. Next, I'm going to talk about the social implementation of scientific knowledge. As you may know, there are many fishery problems that cannot be solved without state-of-the-art ocean science, because seawater circulation has a crucial influence on fishing grounds. Here, I like to introduce sakura shrimp. Sakura shrimp is cherry blossom colored, as seen in the left photograph, where sun-dried shrimp are shown against the background of Mount Fuji. And its tempura dish is popular in Japan, as shown in the right photograph. In Japan, commercial catch of sakura shrimp is limited to Suruga Bay. But we are now faced with a severe problem of sakura shrimp. As indicated in the figure, catches of the shrimp are now decreasing. The gradual decrease from 90s may be overfishing and environmental populations because of its graduality. On the other hand, drastic decrease from 90s, drastic decrease in last few years may be due to a drastic variation of the Kuroshio current mentioned later. Here, I'd like to briefly introduce ecology of the shrimp before mentioning of the near the river in the inner part of the bay. As you can see where the inner part is nutrient is rich. This figure shows the chlorophyll rich areas from the satellite. Moreover, it is important that usually the inner part is calm condition, relatively quiet region. Why the calm condition is important? Because eggs and larvae have no or weak swimming ability. The red line in the lower right figure, this figure, the red line indicate the Kuroshio current path before 2017. But the Kuroshio has changed its path drastically in 2017. And as you can see, this year corresponds to the starting of the drastic decrease of the shrimp. As you may notice, this meander path is because frequently intrude the Kuroshio water. Like this, that the intrusion may destroy the calm condition in the bay. Lastly, I'd like to summarize my talk. We are currently conducting a research project designed to understand and predict coastal circulation adjacent to the Kuroshio. The research project is performed in collaboration with stakeholders. And the goal of our project is present a clear vision for future ocean science in the WESTPAC CSK2. It meets the expected outcome of the UN Decade of Ocean Science. That's all. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Tanaka. And is there any questions? Just one quick question. Is there any question? Anyone raise your hand? Okay, if no, we will move to the last issue and we'll the open discussion.
Thank you.
So, hi, King.
Yeah, Xiaopei, thank you very much for taking lead. And thank you for all speakers. I would like to start the discussion session. We only have 8 minutes. So sorry. I'm thinking that I invited too many stakeholders and collaborators and partners, but it is good to hear the various opinions from 9 talks. So this is a kind of summaries I made during these incubators. So we started from the the discussion about collaboration with other scientific projects by family, number 2, and then we discuss about the data issues with NIAGUS and Odin WESTPAC, and we hear about the requirements from meteorological point of view and also fishery point of view. And finally, in the later sessions, we hear about the necessity of literacy and also just Professor Tanaka finished collaboration with the local fisheries. So this is kind of my summary, and I feel looking at this, and this is just a taking note by myself. I'm feeling that there are several important points were raised in common. One is, of course, the data issues. Recommend about data sharing, and also NIAGUS and Odin WESTPAC, of course, data issue they raised. And from the observational meteorological researches, it was really clearly mentioned that the data is needed. In particular, coastal data is necessary from the perspective of Japan meteorological agencies, and also inventory data seems to be necessary from meteorological researches in China. And from the fishery perspectives, integration studies between fishery and ocean science is key to success in CSK2, and cooperation with regional fishery commission is also recommended. From the perspective of fishery in Philippines, Dr. Santos mentioned, it was also very interesting for me. He clearly mentioned that he needs the science for fishery in Philippines, in particular the northeast part of Luzon, and also longer perspective of climate change, fishery relation between fishery and ENSO and also climate change will be a big issue. So education and literacy is also important. So this is just kind of take note to encourage more people to be a Kuroshio literate people. Seems to be, that point what we need to do in future. And finally, the collaboration with local fishery. This is very concrete action already taken by Professor Tanaka and his colleagues, and it is very interesting to hear the use of common tools, instruments and models together with stakeholders. So I want to, we only have very few minutes, but I want to have hear the comments first of all about the data issues. data centers in our plans, in our current plans, in the draft action plans, we are thinking CSK2 data management plan is like this. So this is very, this maybe fit to other ideas, I guess. So in CSK2, all data providers should have each data management system, and we're gonna have the CSK2 data portal in one side, and then try to link to each data management system. And then maybe this kind of data system may fit to Odin WESTPAC and other other existing near goose data system or something. So we are thinking this kind of data management system. So if you have some comments on data sharing issues, I would like to exchange views using these opportunities. Any comment from floor?
Thank you, Ken. And any comment?
So Julia, I would like to ask one question about the potential collaboration with Odin WESTPAC. So do you have the data portal to connect to develop the networks in this region in Odin WESTPAC?
Yes, we as I mentioned, we have a Odin WESTPAC portal developed, and also we have the portal has the function of data submission. I mean, I guess if we have the data and we could use this web portal for storage, for QC, and for data visualization. But the technical from the technical aspect, I would like to share the how to upload the data later, because currently I don't have that instruction documents at hand. Thank you.
And also you will provide kind of a capacity development if the requirement will come.
Yes, I think we could seek for the possibility of holding CSK2 capacity building activities in the future somehow.
And also you are doing the regular basis of capacity development activity on data management, right?
Yes. And we have different themes each and every year. For example, this year, we hold this capacity building with the theme of the ocean data stewardship under the UN Ocean Decade. So this is a collaboration opportunity, activity with the Otaga Tianjin. So I think in the future, we can focus on the crucial in this area. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So any other comments on the data issues? So Fan Wang, are you still here?
Hi, Fan has some urgent business. I'm quick. Yeah, I can answer your question maybe.
Okay, so it isn't NPOS database. So it is still, already open to public, or just for the, participants of NPOS?
Yeah, in fact, our CAS have mega data center, and basically we collect all research data, put into this mega data center, and after the initial QC controls, and it will be generated with models and also some very standardized format of data, and we will distribute it publicly. Some coastal data may be only confined to domestically used, and some open ocean data can be publicly accessed from our website. Now.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah.
So do you have some link with Odin WESTPAC or near system?
Yeah. Now we have I think we have a station, and maybe it will be publicly accessed internationally soon, because the NPOS will have a annual meeting to discuss about this issue soon, and the data, including the Western Pacific, will be publicly maybe next year.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe that including CSK2, maybe such kind will be a one key point to collaborate, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So yeah, so okay. So for the data issues, do you have any comments or questions? Maybe we are only discussing we may need to think about in future of by BGC parameters also. Any comment on data issues? And okay, so another point lies during this incubator is about, I think, fisheries, relation with fisheries. So Yeonjun, are you here?
Yes.
Okay.
Anderson, I'm here. Yeah.
So you talk about the necessity cooperation with regional fishery commissions. So do you have some ideas how we will cooperate with regional fishery commissions? What kind of fishery commissions do you imagine in your talk?
Yeah, it's a good question, and also it's a very difficult question, because generally the fish commission, they have their only own fish species and covered region, such as some of the tuna fishery commissions. They have the WESTPAC regions for some for tuna species. So I think because the fish communities, they have many species from the small pelagic fish to the large fish such as tuna. So some of the local or the regional fisher community, they have to talk together or cooperation together to discuss some of the issues between the fish community level, such as how tunas breed the small pelagic fish, or how the tunas impacts on the small fish, such like that. So in my knowledge, there don't have so cooperation between so the fish commission. So this maybe is important to study some of the large migratory, large scale fishes such as tuna or some the Japanese eels.
Yes, thank you. Some additional comment on this Yeonjun comment. So Santos, so I heard that Philippines also need science for fisheries. So what kind of science can you say now? what kind of activities, what kind of science or researches do you?
Well, yeah, there has been some studies by like Professor Villanoy and other groups on environmental conditions. And also we do have some studies on like the fisheries in the area. But in terms of like models, especially like projections on impacts of climate change, changes in environmental conditions, and what it will potentially do to the fisheries. I think those are the things that we need to learn so that we can properly sort of prepare. We do have in place the management regime, like the fisheries management area. We do have the management board. We have some science, but we need more information so we can help our management board in that area.
Okay. Thank you very much. Maybe this point is also one key point we could picking up during this incubator. Thank you very much.
Okay, Ando-san. I also have some comment for this point. From is okay?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So from the fisheries perspective, so I think the important science is because the fish dynamics is largely determined in the early life history. So during the very small or larval stages, it's a very important life history stage for fish dynamics. So the how to determine the oceanic process impact the early life history of the fish is very important. So I think this this shows how to find the different scales, different process of the oceanic scale dynamics to fish. Yeah. To meet the fish life history stage. This is very important issues for the fisheries. Also, I think also is a word for the oceanography.
Okay.
Yeah, and if I may add, Dr. Ando, yeah, I fully agree. As I've shown you, that area is really a spawning ground for many species. It's also an area where like the eels passes through their juvenile stage. So it's kind of very critical area for many of the fisheries in the region. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you, Santos. Very good comment. Okay, so time is already rather over, and the next session will start in 20 minutes. So I would like to, stop these incubators. Sorry. I would like also discuss about education literacy and also a collaboration with fisheries, but local fisheries. But I have to skip. Thank you very much for all of the participants. As Xiaopei mentioned, we're gonna have the first international steering group meeting 2 weeks later. I would like to bring the issues discussed this incubators session to the first international steering group meeting. And of course, this incubator is not just it's just a beginning and not sufficient for all of us, even to exchange views. But we could exchange our views very well. And thank you very much for all participants. And I would like to continue this kind of dialogues among stakeholders, including scientists. Through such dialogues, we can co-design the better CSK2 plan. And I try to reflect this output to proposal to decade actions. Thank you very much. And Xiaopei and Akila and Cesar, do you have some comment to close this incubators? Xiaopei, please. Xiaopei, are you all right? Maybe not. Okay, you are moving. So your microphone is off, Xiaopei. Your microphone is off. Okay, maybe he cannot talk.
小佩，你可能是静音了，是静音了吧？嗯。
Hey, hello.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you, Xiaopei. Yeah.
Sorry that because I'm on a trip and yeah. Sorry that.
Time's up. So last word, please, Xiaopei.
Hello, sorry.
Last word. Yeah, I would like to close.
Sorry, it's very noisy here. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm on a trip. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay. So, any other words?
I have no further. No, I have no further comment or testing. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm just on a trip. Yeah.
Okay. So, Xiaopei, I would like to close. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, King.
Yeah. And any other words from the floor? Okay, so there is no comments. So thank you very much. I would like to continue this kind of discussion in the future. Thank you for all for attending this incubator. I would like to adjourn.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you very much.